Welcome back to the next video in my Mexican travel series where I spent 7 days eating and drinking my way through what's known as the heart of Mexico. Today we're heading to Ajijic. It's a little town on the shores of Lake Chapala, which is located about an hour south of Guadalajara. Nestled in the Sierra Madre Mountains at about the same elevation as Denver, Colorado, the Ajijic area is much cooler than elsewhere in Mexico. That's one of the reasons why it's been a popular vacation destination for local Mexicans for quite some time now. It's virtually never too hot or too cold, with average highs in the 70s and sometimes 80s and lows in the 50s. At about the same latitude as Puerto Vallarta or the Western Sahara, it should be about as hot. But since Ajijic is about 5,000 feet above sea level, it stays a lot cooler and the climate is absolutely perfect. Ajijic does have a rainy season between June and October, and for about 4 months it'll rain pretty much every day. However, it usually only rains at night, and usually only for a few hours at a time. Other than that, it rains extremely rarely with an average total yearly rainfall of only 36 inches, which is about the same as Dallas, Texas. The perfect combination between geography and climate is what makes Ajijic one of the very few places where you can find amazing weather like this that isn't already overdeveloped and that isn't impossible to get to. For many decades, this area has been somewhat of a well-kept secret, until recently. Over the last few years, Ajijic has been seeing a large influx of expats from America and Canada, attracted by the cheaper cost of living, which we'll get to in a minute, and the ideal climate. But the largest group of people you'll find in this area are Mexicans. Among them locals who work or own businesses in the area, day trippers from Guadalajara, and then there are people that own second homes here as well. Knowing a little bit of Spanish will take you a long way here, but most of the people here speak English in some form or another. As a first-time visitor to Mexico and someone who speaks almost zero Spanish, I found it relatively easy to get around. Of course, I did have some help from my friend Ari, who was my guide for most of this trip, but getting out of town is something I highly recommend, whether you're just visiting or thinking about living here. From Chapala to Jocotepec, there are several small towns around this lake where expats live, and they're all very similar to Ajijic, but slightly different in their own regards. With a combined population of about 120,000 people, these towns are more like sleepy little fishing villages. Because that's exactly what they were before Ajijic became a vacation hotspot. Not really ideal if you're looking for something more like New York or LA, but you're not very far away from that either because Guadalajara is no more than an hour away. There you'll find all the high-end shopping centers complete with Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and all the luxuries that you could possibly need, as well as Home Depot, Costco, and the airport is right there as well. So it's really convenient to hop on an airplane and be back in the US in no more than 6 hours. About 40 minutes out of town in the other direction, you'll find huge stretches of agricultural land where little family-owned farms are interspersed with huge corporate facilities amongst the gently rolling, seemingly endless hills. So whether you're a cowboy that enjoys the slower pace of country life, or you're a city slicker that loves the energy of a big city, Ajijic is central to all of these locations. But what exactly is there to do in Ajijic itself? So today I'm going on a hike with some friends I made in San Juan Costa last night. This should be interesting. We just started, I'm already winded. We're going up there? Holy shit. Oh my god. That's San Juan Costa down there. They offered to carry my bag for them, I couldn't refuse. Oh, I have to admit, that's much better without the pack. Good news is if you fall, you're hardly able to find your body. You don't go very far because of all the trees. We're almost up in the clouds now.
Last time there were like around one.
Oh yeah, more clouds?
Yeah.
Well, aside from all the usual outdoor activities, like most towns in Mexico, Ajijic has a social hub located in the center of town. Here you'll find a variety of different shops and restaurants, street vendors and performers. It's really a great place to hang out, relax, and just enjoy the atmosphere. But if you're looking for something a little more adventurous, just wander down any of the side streets until you find a hole-in-the-wall bar. This was one of my favorite activities while staying here. It's a great place to meet people and practice your Spanish, not to mention cheap beer and tequila. Yeah, that's more my speed. After you've had too many tequila shots, stumble down the street and eventually you'll find someone cooking something, whether it be tacos or corn or tamales. Pretty much any street food that you can think of, you can find someone making it on your way home. And if street food isn't your thing, there are tons of restaurants. Everything from Asian to Italian. But if you're looking for something like a McDonald's or a Burger King, for that you need to head back to Guadalajara. As a side note, there is a Walmart here, a couple supermarkets, movie theaters, but as far as large corporate presence, it's few and far between.
Tienes el alma de provinciana, hueles a limpia rosa temprana. A fresca del río son mis amigos, mil amigos. Guadalajara, Guadalajara.
This is the Chapala Malacon. There's an open air market that basically runs down the entire length of the Malacon. So let's go see what we can find. Every town along this lake has a Malacon, which is basically like a boardwalk. And during the week, it's relatively quiet, so it's a great place to go for a run or take your dog for a walk. But on a Sunday, it transforms into another social hub of activities.
Y decinos, ¿por qué vienen aquí a Chapala?
Pues nomás a turistear, a ver
A ver las muchachas bonitas de Chapala.
A ver las muchachas y el turismo, todo lo bonito de Chapala. Y sobre todo, pues echar vinagre.
People travel as far as 2 hours away just to come here to hang out for the day, oftentimes bringing their own food and of course, beer and liquor. Because unlike in America, public drinking in Mexico seems to be pretty normal. These fellas came all the way from Arandas, which is known for their tequila making. Actually, from what we were told, Arandas makes more tequila than the town of Tequila itself, where tequila was invented. And of course, our new friends here brought along a bottle of their famous tequila. Centinela. All right, ready?
Okay, ¿cómo se hace?
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete.
This is apparently how cowboys drink their tequila. I guess they don't really take shot glasses with them out to the fields.
8 segundos. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ahí está.
That's good tequila though. By now, you're probably thinking, okay, we get it. Ajijic is a great place to live. But how much is this gonna cost me? Instead of throwing up a bunch of numbers because I think that's boring, I'm gonna take you for a quick tour of a higher-end home located in Ajijic.
Okay, so here we are in La Floresta, which is Lakeside's probably most exclusive neighborhood, most sought after, both with the expats as with our domestic Mexican clientele.
At the time of filming this, it was listed at $399,000, comparable to what you'd find here in the US.
A lot of really nice natural light. And this is really
Now keep in mind, this area is a little bit more upscale. It's gated and has its own private security that patrols the neighborhood, so the price is going to reflect that.
The average price for a house in this community is about $350. So at $399, you get 2 houses for one, basically, with a shared pool. This is the guest bedroom right here. Isn't that a cool bed?
My kids love that.
That's imported from France. Everything here is red brick. The entire house is red brick. So this is an owner's closet.
Okay.
And this was designed so that you could use, for example, if you rent out both units, but you occasionally use one of the units, you can lock your personal items in here. You know, golf clubs, desktop computer, things that you wouldn't take with you necessarily, but wouldn't want your renters using either. So this is the downstairs master, and yes, it has skylights to bring more light in.
Looks like a jacuzzi or hot tub sort of bath setup.
Over there is the front door for the downstairs unit.
Okay.
This can be canceled out with a bookcase, and they're totally separate. So come on up. This unit is a little smaller, but actually has a larger master bedroom because the downstairs one loses space to the garage. Nice Mexican tiles, nice Mexican cabinetry. It has the original appliances up here.
So this particular house is actually made up of two two-bedroom apartments connected to each other. You can rent one and live in the other unit, or open it up and have the entire place to yourself, or you can rent the entire house out on Airbnb. Apparently, it's in high demand, especially with large families that are coming from Guadalajara that are looking to spend the weekend here. Depending on your situation, it might actually be more beneficial economically to sell your home or rent it here in the US and move here to Ajijic. But let me turn it over to the professionals. They'll give you a better idea of what it's going to cost you financially.
Look, in general, the return on investment in at least in this Lake Chapala area is lower than what you would expect out of a US market. But the interesting thing about this area is that your expenses of owning property is very cheap. You buy a property in US dollars, but you maintain it in pesos. And at 20 pesos to the dollar, like the expenses here, which are already pretty low, like are just very affordable. Property like this would rent for about $1,100 each unit, depending on if you rent it long-term or short-term. Obviously short-term, you would include electricity and water and all this, but you would charge a little bit more. And long term, you know, you might rent it for $1,000 a month for if it's a year or more. Electricity here is very similar in cost to United States. I would say she's not paying very much right now because it's unoccupied currently, but I think she said she was paying about $100 every 2 months when both units were occupied. But again, because we have this wonderful climate here, we don't need air conditioning and we don't need heating. Your annual expenses as far as taxes and HOA and water goes and garbage is about $750 a year.
Okay.
So it is very cheap, very affordable.
That said, if you can make your money here in the US and live in Mexico, your money's just gonna go a lot further. I haven't even really touched on the healthcare side of things here. I know that doctor visits are relatively affordable, and prescription meds here can be found pretty much on any street corner at less than half the price you'd find it in the US. So that's a big plus for people that are reaching retirement age. Whether you're looking to maximize your fixed income or you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to find a place that has a lower cost of living that allows you to do your work remotely. Or maybe you're a traveler looking for a place that isn't the usual tourist trap but isn't too far off the beaten path. Ajijic and Lake Chapala, while not perfect, checks off all of those boxes. And that is the end of my video, friends. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, make sure you hit the subscribe button, help me with the algorithm, hit the like, and leave a comment below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.